First, I want to talk about project. We've spoken about the project before. This is our third week talking about it, but it's coming closer, so let's talk about it again. In project 1, you're going to create a spreadsheet that's capable of calculating the student's final grade in a given course. Keep in mind that weighting is involved to determine the final grade. You should not be using a template for this project. So you're going to create your own Excel spreadsheet from scratch, okay? It's not from a template that you found on the internet. You need to create it from scratch. What it will include is your name, your course name, and the project name, a data table labeled categories, and you'll have all the categories listed, a table that calculates the overall grade, heading categories, category weights, category average, category percent points. Category weights are used to determine the final grade, so you need to actually have the weight in the cell that calculates the final grade, and the final grade is labeled clearly, okay? Let's look at the information here. So we have the project 1. This is the information that's given in the prompt. So you have a grading scale, you have the weights, and then you have the student's grades. So you're going to average the online review, average the project, average the quizzes, average the homeworks, and you don't need to average the exams because there's only one per one entry for that category. But you multiply the averages times their weight, and then you add each thing up, and that's how you can get the final grade. Okay, so once you do that in Excel, it should be fairly easy. You should get a percentage of a student for the student's final grade, and then you can just input that letter grade if you like. So this is a mock grade book that I made. I've also posted this video in the prompt for the project 1, but this is a grade book that I made just to show how the students, and what I have here is I have it actually calculated, and you can see that this student received a 77.8%, and that's a letter grade of C, okay? So you need to actually use Excel to calculate this, okay? You don't want to just do it by hand and then type in the answer. No. It has to be actually typed in. The reason for that is you're also going to alter the spreadsheet, and you're going to want to find what is, if something changes, what else changes. Okay, let's look at the questions, and that part's going to make more sense. So questions: address any formulas used in the example, but don't use cell references, okay? I don't want you to be like, I multiplied cell B5 times A3, and then I added it to G2 times G13. That isn't what I'm interested in. I'm interested in you writing that you took the average of the homework scores and you multiplied that by the weight of the homework, and then you added in the average of the quizzes times the weight of the quizzes, and so on. That's how you're going to explain it to me. Number 2, if the instructor decided to drop quiz scores, how many grades would he need to drop to get the next letter grade? So you're going to drop the student's lowest quiz scores and see how many drops it would take for the student to get the next letter grade. Whatever you found their final letter grade to be, you're going to show me, I guess you're going to tell me what, how many it would take, okay? Number 3, what is the lowest grade on test 3 that could have brought the student's score to the next letter grade for the class? So you're going to alter exam 3 to the point where it would boost the student's grade up to the next letter grade. Okay, so if they had a D for, I'm not saying they do have a D, but if they had a D, what would their exam 3 have had to been for them to get to C, the next letter grade from D to C? Number 4, is it possible for the student to get a B in the class? Create a new weighted system that would allow the student to get a B. Use whole numbers for the percentages. So I guess this one's kind of telling you that the student didn't get a B. But I want you to create a new weighted system. That means you're going to alter how things are calculated to the point where the student can get a B. An example might be, okay, they have a really high quiz score, so we're going to count more for the quizzes than we do for the exams. But the weights will always have to add up to 100%, right? Okay. All right, and so for number 5, consider if the instructor allows the student to complete all test reviews again. If the student got the exact same score on each test review, what would it have to be to raise the overall grade? So for instance, what would the student have to get on the test review to get to the next letter grade? So if they had a B in the class, what grades would they have had to get on the test reviews to get the A, the next from B to A, right? What would that have to have been? So you're going to make all that the same score, okay? So I would just start with like a 95% and then just kind of go back and forth and see what you get. So if 95% for all of the test reviews is appropriate, then okay, well that's going to work, so I can back it up a little bit. I'll try 90%, I'll try 85%, and so on. Okay, so that's part 5. That is the project. You're going to turn in those questions. You're going to turn in your spreadsheet to me. If you have any further questions about the project, please let me know as soon as possible, but it should be pretty approachable at this point. But let me know if there's anything left unsaid.